All right, so there's two ways to go about this bad boy, right? So you can try and go about graphing it. I typically disagree with trying that method on almost any problem, especially on the no calculator section. If you want to do like, oh, if graphing's the way to solve it, you want to do it on a graphing calculator. This is one of the few instances where maybe you can get away with it, and let's see what that looks like. Let's say that they're telling us that it's starting at the origin. That's what they are telling us. It's at the origin, and it has a slope of 1/7. So remember, that's our rise and that's our run. Which of the following points lies on the line? So we know we have to go towards the up and the right because all our values here are positive, so that's good. So having a rise of 1 and then a run of 7 would put us somewhere around here. And what we would have here is a coordinate 7, 1. And essentially that's just going to keep doubling each time. So it's definitely not B. It's definitely not A. And then it's definitely not C. So that actually just leaves us with D in that case. Now, what you can also recognize is that technically they're giving us they're giving us 1 point and then the slope. And so you can actually use point slope form. And if you remember what that is, that's y minus y1. This gets tested quite often, so it's worth going over. X minus x1. Oh, wow, that's a bad x right there. There you go. And we can plug in with the values that they give us. M is 1/7. And what may not feel obvious, but they give us a point, which is the origin. So it's x minus 0 is equal to y minus 0. So it ended up being that y equals 1/7x. And then you can actually plug in for your input and your output each one of these answer choices. So when I plug in 0, I should get 7 if the answer was A. Well, 0 times 1/7 equals 0, so that doesn't work, right? But if I plug in for D, if I rewrite it as does 2 equal 1/7 times 14, which is just 14/1, it does, because that turns into 14/7, which is then just 14 divided by 2, by 7, which is 2. So that's D. So cool way to go about it. I'd recommend the first way really, but this one is a good practice method for some other more difficult questions.